You're still filthy about that.
When we put him on the map, he got 5 best on grounds in a row.
Let's move on. The Giants have actually executed a magnificent game on the weekend. It was a great game for Leon Cameron.
Yep.
It was a great game for the club. It's going to be fascinating to see how they go. But this game had it all. It was the third quarter was just nerve-tingling, and the final 4 or 5 minutes, Brownie, you just couldn't script it.
It was great to be there. Literally, it was great to be there. It was one of the biggest upsets I've seen in sport, just from an outside perspective. We knew the Giants had a chance, but with arguably their 2 best players or 3 best players, Green, Cannelio and Whitfield not out there, you think, geez, it's just insurmountable. But the rain
Captain does his calf in the first 5 minutes.
Captain did the calf in the first 5 minutes. But you got a feeling, didn't you, in the back end of the first quarter, they started to work in the game, and where the Collingwood looked a little bit flat, and the Giants looked really hard. You thought, geez, they're well and truly. And I think no doubt the slippery conditions helped them. And to me, Jared, I can't help but think the Giants were battle-hardened, and they were a side prepared, and prepared none more so than in the last quarter. You know, they looked like a side. They obviously have to hang on to a lead against Brisbane the week before. They looked like they were very prepared. They looked like they practiced for this scenario to hold on to the lead, and then their players executed. And in contrast, to me, the Collingwood players panicked. They looked like they weren't prepared for this situation. So I think the last 5 to 10 minutes of stoppages sums it up.
Well, you've spoken about this a lot. You've cut some vision about this. And, a number of people, Sam Mitchell included, suggested that they just weren't creative enough.
Well, what do you do in this situation? I'll ask the coach, Roosie, and when you get this drummed in you as a player, what's the coach instructing here, Roosie?
Yeah, look, I mean, for a start, you've got Elliott, who's a forward. I mean, he needs to be in the goal square. Then I like Pendlebury, what he does here, so there's a little bit of space created by the tagger, but then he gets drawn into the contest. There's just too many numbers around the contest for the Collingwood Footy Club. The forwards should all be in the goal square, the tag mids, of which at that stage you had Sidebottom who was getting tagged. Yeah, you had Pendlebury that were getting tagged. So you had a chance
to pull players
away and create some space. And you had a dominant ruckman as well.
Yeah, you did. And some blame's got to go on to Grundy as well. So we just see the vision will continue. Like that ball's got to be cleared into space. So Grundy, for some reason, now I know Mumford nullified him a little bit at times with the hit-outs, but Grundy at several occasions need to be able to clear the area. And we just look at some of the stoppage situations.
Yeah.
They're big numbers. So the ball was spent in the forward half in that last quarter when Collingwood got a run. Grundy just didn't want to clear the ball either. He was hitting short taps. That's the time when you've got to get it out in space, ask some questions. So I'm very critical of Collingwood there. And we've got to commend GW.
They were magnificent. Yeah. All that considered, they just kept bashing in, Jared.
They did.
Bashing in. But
they had a plan.
Momentum said they were going to lose by 4 goals.
Yeah.
That's what it stood. And then they just refused to concede.
I love that plan, though, as Brownie said. And you can see it from the opening bounce. There's been so much discussion about hit-outs and the Grundy domination of hit-outs. But Mummy didn't want to have a hit-out in the centre bounce. They realised that it was his greatest strength. And yet he just did not go for any of them, particularly at centre bounces.
It was amazing, wasn't it, the way Mumford... I think he gave away a free kick early in the game.
Yeah, two free kicks early.
Yeah. And then it was very creative of him to work his way around the stoppages. And quite a few of them he didn't even go.
Well, just have a look at the opening bounce, and particularly in the first quarter. I mean, their planning was superb. He didn't want to know about it. And yet all I read about was the amount of hit-outs that a bloke has taken. I mean, hit-outs... and the correlation to winning runs at 49%. So it's not what happens with the actual hand on the ball, what's happened at ground level. And they've worked this out.
Why don't more ruckmen do that, Jared?
I'm not sure.
So it's 4 on 3 on the ground, basically.
Yeah, 4 on 3. And on the weekend when Nankervis is up against Mummy, we may have the ball go up and hit the deck. Yeah. Neither one will want to go for it.
And he's not too bad at ground level either, Mummy. We saw that blind turn, or not the blind turn, but he sold a bit of can in that last quarter, got around. But have a look at that last quarter. So all we do is you look at the hit-outs. I think it was, 30 hit-outs to 6. But look at the hit-outs to advantage. He had 2, and Grundy had 1 hit-out to advantage in the last quarter. So... he did a magnificent job. Third-rated GWS player out in the ground, Jared, in the last quarter.
Well, they were superb, and unfortunately, Collingwood's much heralded midfield have had their worst day on the final day for them. I mean, they've had season lows. Gary, get yourself a drink of water. But they just didn't fire a shot.
Yeah, it was amazing, wasn't it? I mean, I thought Pendlebury was brave. I mean, he was the guy that was getting tagged by De Boer, so no criticism of him. Even though he had the season low, I thought if that goal hadn't been touched, it might have been honest to. Yeah. So he worked his way. Sidebottom's last quarter was good, but previous to that, he'd 9. But probably the two that stand out are Taylor Adams and Treloar, weren't they? Who were really high possession winning midfielders and have had amazing seasons. So when your two taggers you expect are going to be low, but you don't expect those numbers of your two high mids that normally are up around the I mean, Treloar can be mid-30s and Taylor Adams is typically around 30. So they're low numbers.
You don't gloss over those tagging jobs either, though, and we'll get to them in greater detail.
The issue
How significant is that?
They were significant. The issue I had, Gaz, though, we knew it was going to happen. The 80,000 people, the whole football world knew that De Boer was probably going to go to Pendlebury, if not Treloar. He went to Pendlebury. Pendlebury stayed in the midfield all day. They didn't do anything to help him out.
Yep.
Side bottom, out in the wing all day. Perryman... It just put the blanket over him. Hoskin Elliott at half forward, they put Sam Reid to him.
Perryman wasn't a De Boer style. Perryman still played the game.
Yeah,
he
did.
Merit. He had 15 possessions.
They didn't do anything with side bottom. They didn't make any moves.
To your point, Brownie, I thought Brisbane with Lachie Neale hounded it way better. If we looked at their stoppages... when the Giants played against Brisbane Lions. They had Zorko on the fly, they had Lachie Neale blocking, they were really well prepared. You're right, it looked like Collingwood didn't really prepare for it around stoppages at all, didn't it?
Yeah. Looking forward to talking about Zach Williams and his performance and where you're going to play him as coach of the Giants, Gary, coming up. But Richmond and
play him
Geelong...
in the middle so you can get 3 Brownlow votes.
Sounds very good to me. Richmond and Geelong, another fascinating game. Geelong absolutely superb early.